Hello, this is Korath Landwalker, and today is going to be another exciting afternoon of Star Citizen. Hopefully everything is appearing properly. I've been having problems categorizing streams lately, and I'm not entirely sure why. So my hope is that this is working appropriately. I also seem to be having issues with the delay between Twitch stream and what I'm receiving on my secondary iPad screen, which allows me to see my chat. So it is certainly possible that I'm going to be seeing some serious delays here. In fact, I'm going to do a quick double check to make sure that I am seeing what I'm expecting to see. If I go to my computer and take a look at what's being streamed, I can see very easily that I have the proper screen on, but my iPad is not cooperating. I don't know if it's because of the Twitch app or if it's because of something else. So I'm going to have to put this into a view chat only and hope that it comes up in real time better than the videos. So if something looks wonky in the video, I'm not going to see it. Let me know in advance. Okay. Well, as you may have guessed by the title of this particular stream, I've had some minor incidents recently, and looks like I'm going to be kicked back here again. I thought this had been taken care of, but apparently it has not. So I need to reset my head. No. I should have quit when I was ahead. And it did it again. Why is it not taking? What am I screwing up here? Now, you know what? We'll just go with that. I'm going to be wearing a spacesuit most of the time anyway. As a result of these various 30Ks, my finances have taken substantial hits. This is what happens when you try hauling cargo and suddenly discover that 30Ks are wiping you out repeatedly. It would be nice if 3.10.1, which is slated to be the next patch in some relatively near future, like maybe within the next month, hopefully. Maybe it'll cut down the number of 30Ks, maybe not. Since nobody really has a handle on why servers crash so regularly, we just have to live with it. So, we have here the big bad loading screen, and if memory serves, I should be loading in at Lorville on the planet of Hurston. I'm going to stay away from ArcCore and Area 18 because that also has had some impact in loss of finance. So let's take a quick peek. My current finances consist of a whopping 10,000 UEC. Well, that's not exactly what you would call high finance, is it? Now, once upon a time, I would take my freelancer out, do a number of deliveries. That would net me about 8K per. That's hopping from planet to planet. Unfortunately, when the patch lands, any reputation you may have with doing certain activities is zeroed out again. And the base deliveries right now, at the start, I don't want to say that they suck, but they do. And once I'm out of this elevator, I'll demonstrate. I don't want the elevator to open and close and me still standing here when I'm fiddling around on the Moby glass. Alright, here we go. Let's take a look at those delivery missions I was talking about. On the face of it, it doesn't seem to be as bad. For a delivery mission, once upon a time, it was basically pick up, drop off. Straightforward, easy, nothing major, and if it was local, it'd be maybe 1,000 UEC. Okay, technically a UEC, but there are only so many layers I'm willing to string together at once. Now, on the face of it, this looks like it would be better. You've got you have 3 packages being delivered to a single location, and it gets you 4,000 UEC. Sounds like an improvement, doesn't it? But the problem is, you don't get paid until you deliver all 3 of those packages. And there's also a reverse version as well, where you can collect all the packages from one location and deliver to 3 different locations. And again, it's really almost better in some ways, but again, you don't get paid until you deliver them all. And time is literally money here, because if the infamous server crash happens, you wind up with 0 bupkis. That stinks a lot. So I haven't done a whole lot of these. Plus, if you were watching my stream last week, some areas are less developed than others, shall we say. There was a location on one of Microtech's moons, or maybe it was on Microtech itself, I can't recall specifically, that had the ramp into the package pickup area off the ground. And I spent probably an hour trying to get at this package, first with a freelancer and then with an Aurora. And I actually have the Aurora encounter clipped, so if you want to laugh, go ahead and after the stream, hopefully, go ahead and check out my highlights, and you can't miss it. Just look for the one that says no reward is worth this, because all that abuse was really not worth 4,000 UEC. So my likelihood of activity is going to involve the bounty hunting sort of thing, where I'm going to basically go out and blow stuff up. I may or may not do the North Rock one. That'll involve player bounties, and I'm not really prepared for that sort of thing. This investigation, that's going to be in a cave. Caves are kind of hit and miss. Maintenance almost always involves disposing of toxic waste, and that's really not worth the effort. In Mercenary, we will always pick up call to arms, but I am not at this point ready to start messing with the other things going on. I want to start rebuilding some of the nest egg here. My ship of choice today is likely to be my usual daily driver, the Misk Freelancer. The Freelancer is a nice all-around ship. It basically does almost everything I want to do, really. I can fight, I can haul, I can even bub around and fly over moons and planets and random locations, just because. There's a lot to like about the Freelancer, and I'm still a fan. I'm going to miss it when the Mercury Star Runner comes rolling in. Because right now, the Freelancer, in addition to being a loaner for everybody who has the game at all, is also the loaner for the Star Runner. So when the Star Runner comes, the Freelancer will go away, unless of course it still sticks around due to that bug, which is the reason why we have the Freelancer for everybody. You would think that they would have fixed that by now, just to help the sales on Freelancers, but nope. Well, is what it is. My Freelancer is decently kitted out. It's not what you would call top-line equipment, but it's got enough to survive Tier 3, not Tier 3, Crime Stat 3 bounties, and possibly on a good day, Crime Stat 4 bounties. Oh, I sure hope this isn't bugged. Oh, thank heavens. When you have the trains overlapping each other, there's issues going on. But, luckily, it isn't the bug that involves trapping poor hapless fools in the train until hell freezes over. Also got another passenger, as you may have noticed on here. He's checking out his movie glass. Undoubtedly choosing missions, maybe fiddling with ship equipment. Probably not messing with his personal equipment, but he might be. Nope.
Now arriving, Tisa Spaceport. Please watch your step when disembarking the train.
Alrighty. We're going to be pulling into the station and getting ready to
Step away from the platform edge when train is approaching.
head to the terminals.
Now arriving from Metro Center.
Now, if I'd actually had finances, I'd originally been planning before, the host of 30Ks more or less wiped me clean. I'd originally planned on doing a rental for possibly the Cutlass Black and flying around in that a bit, just to, break up the monotony of flying my usual ship. But, well, like I said, 30Ks happened. So, once we get the ship out of storage, Hangar 7. Hopefully I can keep that in my tiny brain before I get in the elevator. Excellent. Sometimes the elevator takes so long that I lose track of where my hangar is and embarrassing things. Although I usually only have that problem on space stations, and that's because they've got like 2 or 3 kilometer rides in their elevators. So for those folks who are complaining about how long it takes the elevators to move, keep in mind that they are going over a mile in the period of time it takes to drop you off on your ship. So have a little respect. One thing that I am not happy about, though, is that they've changed the access point for the turret a lot lower than it used to be, and therefore every time I think I'm getting ready to click the cargo door closed, I wind up in the bloody turret. It's really annoying, it's really stupid, and I hope that they fix it somewhere along the line, because it is the most idiotic thing it's like they always do something to the Freelancer every patch that makes it annoying. And I think it's been that way virtually almost the day I got a hold of the Freelancer, when I first started playing. It's always something with this ship. Alright. Now that I'm ensconced in the landing bay, we will have the good folks open the doors. And let's get the shields back on here. My shields right now are slow charging. That's been a problem with the Freelancer. I don't know if it's because they have the 2 shield generators, or if the shield generators are bupkis, or maybe their power supply isn't doing it. I don't know enough about the ins and outs of how the power supply works, because I've seen bigger ships charge their shields a lot faster. Now granted, they have bigger power cores, power supplies, power plants, whatever their name is this week. Okay, pop myself up, try to level myself out so I don't accidentally slam through the edge of the narrow landing bay. And once I'm out, I can start looking for these lines, which are conveniently right in front of me for once. How did that happen?
Landing gear up. Thank you. And please visit again.
There's some landing improvements that will be coming with the next patch as well. Sometimes when you're coming in for a landing and you request them for a landing bay, they don't actually show you where your landing bay is. Sometimes the doors are already closed by the time you get there. You can usually get around it by contacting them again, but it's annoying. And then if you happen to be in Area 18, sometimes they don't even recognize that you landed where they told you to land, and they start impounding you. And that's if you're lucky. I have a lot of bad things to say about Area 18 right now, and I'm just going to avoid that place until the next patch or 2 or 3. In the meantime, we are going to take a peek at where my target bounty is, and I'm probably going to need to reset this once I get out of atmosphere here, or at least when I get high enough that I can start using quantum travel. Still no T-Vel indicator on the HUD, which went away at some point. When they replaced the HUD, they got rid of that indicator, which means you have no way of knowing what your top speed is at any given time. And this is only in atmosphere. This isn't a problem once you're in space, which is a good thing. Okay, set route again, and well, that sure worked out well, didn't it? So it looks like I'm going to need to find a navigational marker to get to before I can actually get there. There we go. Orbital marker 4.
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
Alright. Now maybe I can get the destination set. Can I at least get to Magda? Yes, I can. So all they need to do is get me to that rendezvous point. There we go. You would think that this would be capable of getting you there to the orbital marker first. That would get you to the next orbital marker and so forth.
Quantum travel engaged.
It's clearly within the capabilities. It's not a question of how many navigational points you're setting. Because this is setting 4, and I've seen 5. It's annoying, but you know, it's something that can be dealt with. Obviously. If worst came to worst, I would target Everest Harbor and work from there. But I'm not 100% sure how well it would work from there, whereas I am 100% sure that it would work if I got to an orbital marker. That's all there is to that.
Quantum travel complete.
Now this particular bounty is basically basically introducing myself to the Hurston folks and saying, "Hi, I can take care of myself in space. Why don't you pay me money to take out bad guys?"
Quantum travel engaged.
And there's a similar one for Crusader. I don't think there's one for ArcCorp, but to be fair, I don't think I've seen a whole lot of pirate activity as far as bounty activity when it comes to ArcCorp. Okay, I'm going to set my gimbals, which are really the best way for me to hit anything. And I don't really need to set anything else right now. If I were in a fighter, like an Arrow or something along those lines, then I would turn my coupled mode off. I would decouple. So I would let Newtonian physics come into play. But I generally don't do that through Freelancer. I can see where it would be an advantage if you're going against, say, other players. Okay, lock the target. Well, not necessarily lock the target, just get the target. right now, like I might have begun mentioning at some point, I'm using attrition 3s on my Freelancer. There are probably better guns, but these are laser repeaters, and I'm kind of fond of their effectiveness. I'm usually fond of their effectiveness. There we go. But I expected that kind of result against a small target with these guns. Let's go after more dangerous game. Okay, that's not really a more dangerous game, but you know. As with every occupation, you have to build your reputation before they start giving you the good stuff. Now, the good thing with the new HUD targeting that they've done, the way they do targeting now, is I can keep the gimbal sets and still be able to see where I'm going. I didn't have this little cursor back in the past that was twirling around like this. It would basically be steering in the direction of where I was pointing the guns. If I take off the target, it would be shooting basically wherever my cursor is. But now that cursor is divorced from my control. Well, let me rephrase it. In this mode, my control and my targeting cursor are effectively the same. If I go to target lock, it becomes a fixed weapon. Basically, it fires forward no matter what I do. But I have a separate indicator, that triangular indicator, that is basically telling me where I'm moving the mouse to determine, well, which way I'm going to be pointing the ship. And it persists even if I set up the gimbal. And that's a good thing. So while I have, there is a downside to that, and I'll get to that momentarily. But I feel that that's an improvement.
Quantum travel complete.
Now, it may seem hard to believe, but sometimes bounties will only require one jump after you reach the moon. It's just really bad luck today, and I'm getting exact opposite results.
Quantum travel complete.
Now, this should be a fairly straightforward bounty as well, because Crime Stat 1 bounties, they tend to be single-seat starships, and they don't tend, and they're basically fighters.
Complete. Pilot received.
As a result, we're not looking at what you would call high danger here. Now, as you can see, this is where the problem starts happening, because I've got multiple indicators going all over the place here, and the one I want to pay attention to is the crosshairs up in the front. It's the center of the circle. And they move the point where I want the best place, theoretically, to shoot because of the gimbaling. But I'm distracted occasionally by the presence of the triangular cursor that indicates which way I'm turning my ship. So there's a bit going on there, and that's not even counting the cursor you see sliding back to center there, which is basically showing the direction of my current velocity. If you're flying decoupled, that's where things start getting really entertaining. And we've got Crime Stat 3 already. Let's go after this guy. Because now we're getting the bounties that will actually pay decent money. And in the Freelancer, I have a greater feeling of comfort in being able to go after and defeat these guys. Usually when I go bounty hunting, I will use a light fighter like an Arrow, which is my preferred light fighter. But the problem with the light fighters is that while they're fast and maneuverable and they can hit hard and all that, they're also made out of balsa wood. In other words, if a missile looks at it faintly, it will blow up. And countermeasures are kind of hit and miss. I have not really come up with a good answer to deal with missiles in a light fighter except exploding. And, well, there's a lot of missiles that tend to show up on Prime Stat 3 bounties.
Quantum travel complete.
And that is why we are going to be working with... Are you serious? They had me come in with that. So obviously the navigational computer could also use some software updates. As I was saying, the prevalence of missiles in Prime Stat 3 bounties is the primary reason why I'm taking the Freelancer, because the Freelancer can take those hits. Especially this particular Freelancer, because I did spend some credits back in the day, and those components have actually managed to persist. Now, that bad engine is a different story. That's a bug. They're fixing that. But there's my attritions. And it's hard to tell right now, but I've got a custom paint job on this thing too. I blew some credits on going the black paint job. At the time, I was thinking I might try to do a lot of criminal stuff, and it kind of fit the theme. But unfortunately, things have not worked out. All that said, maybe we'll do some of that too today. Okay, a Drake Buccaneer, who looks like our primary target, which is a really sad primary target for a Prime Stat 3 bounty. Ah, the sound of missiles locking. There's one. Oh, and I'm getting multiple types of missiles on me too, it looks like. It's another. Oh, Cutlass Black. Yeah, those guys will put on a hurting. Cutlass Blacks are comparable to Freelancers. Very comparable to Freelancers. And from the way they should be, is that they should be better fighters than Freelancer. Freelancer has better cargo, and the Cutlass should be able to fight better. At least that was my understanding as to how it ought to work. I don't actually think that is the way it is currently working, however. In case you're unfamiliar with the Call to Arms mercenary mission, it's worth noting that the Call to Arms only applies to targets that are not part of another mission. Support craft are not considered part of another mission. So, well, let me rephrase that. They're not considered a part of a current mission if you've taken out the primary target. If the primary target is still there, then it's part of the current mission. If you take out the primary target, the mission is over, and therefore the spare ships are fair game for Call to Arms. Which is all a roundabout way of saying, if you have the choice, go after the primary target first. Take out the primary target first. Once you do that, the other targets are free money. Well, relatively free. I mean, you do have to blow them up. Now, if it goes well, I might get really lucky and get some Prime Stat 4 bounties rolling.
Quantum travel complete.
Those are a little riskier because those are dealing with some ships with really significant artillery. And equally important, strong shielding and good hull. In other words,
Quantum travel complete.
they will be challenging even for a freelancer. And of course, they'll have support craft too. What I've seen for those are usually either constellations, which I can deal with. Those guys I can deal with.
Quantum
Valkyries
complete.
are a little more challenging. Uh-oh, that's not good. Nothing's rendered in yet, which means I could be flying in a bunch of asteroids here and not see any because nothing is spawning in. That's something that's new. I don't know what kind of rendering changes they've made, but it's made it very dangerous to go into places like this because you could be flying and all of a sudden the game finally renders in the asteroids and the asteroid might be 10 meters in front of you while you're moving at 100 meters a second. Ow! The good news though is that the targets aren't rendering either. There we go, they're beginning to render it now. There's those missiles. One of these days I want to do one of the tricks I've heard that some other players have done, which is basically set their safe. Oh, I'm getting hit like crazy. And I cannot find my primary target. There we are. Buccaneer of all things. I must have a pair. For as many missiles that are coming at me, there must be a pair of Cutlass Blacks. No, strangely enough, no, it's an interceptor. Well, I'm going to take out a Buccaneer first. Oh, an awful lot of missiles for an interceptor. I guess it's possible the Buccaneer was chucking missiles. Oops. It also bears mentioning that the gimbals have taken a bit of a nerf, which is pretty much a good thing because gimbals were probably a little too good back in the past. They might still be considered too good now, honestly, but I find I have a little more challenge of hitting the targets, although that one didn't seem like it. Then again, it was an interceptor, and the guns on a freelancer are tough. Okay, I'm going to take a quick second here. I'm going to take a look at my items and see what took the hits there when I was getting hammered. Slight damage to the repeater. That could have just been, use. And a little bit to the thruster. Nothing major. If anything, I'll betcha, yeah, the dual mounts for the turret, they always seem to take the worst of almost everything. Honestly, I'm not even sure why I'm even putting power to it. I'm going to turn off the power to that mount because I'm never using it. I don't have passengers on here to manning the turret, so there's no point in having that monkey with my power supply. Now my shields, on the other hand, seem to be having a problem. Like, they're not recharging at all. Okay, let's see if I can manage to do some repair work on it. Looks like I might have to do something after all. Magda does have a couple of outposts, but landing pads and their ability to repair are kind of hit and miss right now. And it's mostly this. And it looks like there's got something wrong with the thrusters here because it looks like that we are continuing to have issues of all kinds with the freelancer.
Quantum travel complete.
Okay, I'm going to set the route again for no other reason than to see where exactly the target destination is. I can't do any more quantum travel to it. But I like to be able to know approximately where it is, because I move around a bit sometimes, and if you drift off enough, you will go nowhere near it. And trying to find the needle in the haystack, it's painful. Very painful. Yeah, that power is really doing horrible.
Shields charge complete.
Okay, somewhere along the line, I think maybe what happened was I didn't have the power supply set for the... I must have clicked something that knocked down the usage. So maybe the problem wasn't damage after all, but me hitting something else that set my power usage to a bad place. Oh, you know what? Since I'm over 10,000 meters above the moon, I see no point into heading back down. And I see more point doing the kind of things that's more entertaining. Unfortunately, more entertaining means not much. Okay, let's see. I can do something for North Rock to open up players as targets. Why not? Let's plan for the future. Historically speaking, it's probably going to be Crusader, and I bet you it's going to be near Yellow. No! It's going to be at Aberdeen. Oh, this just got a lot simpler. This is going to be loads simpler. I was really expecting that I have to jump all the way to Crusader to do this. But no. I get to stay local. That said, it does make a certain amount of sense. Aberdeen is... well, it's the location of the one prison in the Stanton system, apparently. Kleischer is where players go when they've been bad. That's not really quite accurate either. If you've been bad and you die, you'll end up in Kleischer. And by bad, it means you've gotten criminal status. And criminal status can be gotten all kinds of ways. Some by intent, and some by accident. I've gotten criminal status because my ship flipped over on top of a landing pad. They considered me trespassing. That was annoying. I've gotten criminal status from helping out a ship in need, and the idiot ship in need decided to fly the line of fire between me and bad guys. Suddenly, criminal. One time I got criminal status by accidentally killing off a player. And I feel this requires a little bit of elaboration. Once I make sure that I don't hit this rock. Good. I was doing a ground mission. Basically, I was doing one of those authorized execution warrants. Or actually, it couldn't have been that because I had multiple targets. I was dealing with the remove claim jumpers. No, not even claim jumpers. What is it? It was basically clear out a base. And for some reason I wasn't tracking it, so I didn't know how many targets I actually had to kill in there. So I'm going around popping targets, and I'd actually managed to live through all of it, which was impressive enough. But I couldn't find what I felt was my last target. And I'm wandering around and wandering around. And then I see a guy coming around a corner with his gun. So I shoot him. Right in the head. Except it was a player. Bam! Homicide. Criminal status. Bounties on me immediately. Oh boy, wasn't that entertaining. That's one of the hazards of a game that doesn't put nameplates above the head like you see in a lot of MMOs. And I was unaware at the time that the bad guys could look. They had a distinct look to them. I just figured if it was moving, it was a target. Lesson learned. Oh jeez, that's right here. And there he is. And I have multiple targets out here. Now, at one point I was talking about countermeasures against missiles and tricks that some of the other players are doing to deal with it. One thing that they do is that they map the key that is kicking off the countermeasures to the same key that swaps between types of countermeasures, because there's two types of countermeasures: electromagnetic shape and infrared countermeasures. And you have just a key that swaps between them and a key that discharges whatever is swapped. And what some folks have been willing to do is map them together so that you fire a countermeasure and you swap. You fire a countermeasure and you swap. You go through your countermeasures twice as fast that way, but you don't have to worry about trying to figure, because you'll just keep hitting the shape button until hopefully the bad guy goes away, or the missiles go away more accurately. That's the theory, anyway. Now, it's worth mentioning, I am a mouse and keyboard guy. I'm sure folks using the really exotic joysticks or HOTAS, they prefer to use the newer terminology. They have a different set of binds, and I've done okay today. I've gotten about 12,000 credits so far. Oh, here we go. Crime Staff 4's. Oh, but that's a North Rock service group one. If they come from North Rock, the bounty could be anywhere in the system. I'm trying to avoid those. I want to stay in the system if I can. We do have an authorized execution warrant floating around. And it's good pay. So let's mix things up a little bit today, shall we? I get bored if I do the same kind of mission. Oh! And it's in space. The day is looking up. I was expecting this to be a assault on a bunker. But instead, it appears that these guys will be a space target. Now, I'm liking this because I like my odds of survival a lot better in my freelancer here. In a freelancer, I can take hits and I can dish them out. If I were in a bunker, bullets are nasty. And I'm not convinced that armoring is really helping all that much. Plus, you know, you get killed in a bunker mission, then you've got to get all the way back, depending on where your spawn point is. And there are no spawn points close by unless you're flying a Cutlass Red or a Carrack. Whoa. Dodge, dodge. Okay, A Mustang Delta. Boy, this feels like a really cheap target for 8,000 credits. But far be it for me to turn down an easy opportunity for 8,000 credits. Now, it's important to note that not all personal contracts are the same. If it's an authorized execution warrant from Hurston, you're pretty much okay with it. But there are a lot of personal missions that come from, let's call them shady characters. And if they're shady characters, they're probably going to try to put a criminal status on. Okay, here we go. Crime Staff 4, local, 6,000 credits worth. That is a target worth going after. Is a target that will be the challenge with a non-trivial possibility of making me end up dead. I'm good with this. I would never take this mission in an arrow. Well, not after the first time, at any rate. Because these are heavy hitter ships with potentially lots of missiles, and it takes time to burn them down. Even with my attritions, I'm going to have quite a bit of time trying to burn down whatever is at the end of the rainbow here. But at least in the Freelancer, I have a reasonably decent shot at completing this mission and living to tell the tale. I would be lying if I said I would come out of it unscathed. I am going to take damage in this fight, there's no doubt about that. The question is, how much damage? Find out momentarily. Well. It seems that an old friend of mine has managed to get in the game, either popped on the website and finally accepted my contact request, or he's managed to get the game running. Okay, where's my primary? That's my primary. And we are already taking fire. I am... Really? The Buccaneer's the primary? Well, that made life easy. Okay, we've got a Cutlass here. Let's erase him next. I can get myself to a point where I can finish the job on him. Well, I've certainly wiped out his shields. Now, if I could wipe out his hull, that would be a nice wrapper here. There we go. Mustang. And again, since I have call to arms, everybody I take out after primary is basically free money. Presuming I don't do something stupid like fly into an asteroid. I've done that. There are a number of ships out here too. Another Mustang Delta, and they seem to be having a little trouble flying right now. I wonder if they're having power issues. I thought I'd read somewhere that the way the NPC bounties are kind of tuned right now, that they've got a possibility of burning out their power plants. And if that's true, then if you can outlast them, they're sitting ducks. Well, he's obviously not a sitting duck because he's shooting at me. And there we go. Not bad, huh? That gets me to... Okay, we're close to 50, so, you know, those couple missions have done me real good. Oops. Yeah, I knew I was dead meat the moment I heard the proximity alarms going off. Hey, Luffy. I'm hanging on there. Welcome to the stream. I noticed that you got the friends request nailed down in the game, so if you should run into a... Oh my. Well, this is interesting. I'm not sure what happened there. It seemed to have had a out-of-body experience for a moment there. I saw those proximity alarms going off, and I knew that I had aimed my ship in a direction that wasn't going to be slamming into an asteroid. And I knew I was dead meat just when that happened. Well, sometimes you get the bear, and sometimes the bear gets you. As for how I'm doing pretty good so far today. I'm trying to rebuild some of my funds here after having lost a large portion of my accumulated money from doing cargo runs. There are a number of ships in Star Citizen that'll basically load up cargo, allow you to trade it between planets and moons. But the problem is that, well, the server likes to crash on an alarmingly regular basis, and it prefers to do so apparently whenever I'm carrying cargo. And I had a large number of setbacks that chopped my available money down to the teens. Well, when I say the teens, I mean the tens of thousands, like 18,000. So, when you started out around 150k, that's a hard thing to take. It was just awful. So, kind of working on rebuilding the nest egg a bit. The money is not a really big deal. I mean, this is an alpha. Wipes happen all the time. Things disappear. But if you want to try other things out, like rent other starships, buy different kinds of weapons or armor, rent ships, or do any of that, it costs credits. And, well, you can't buy a whole lot off of 18,000 credits. Well, you can buy a decent amount, but not on the scale that... there's that bug again. The train bug is still with us. At least I'm in the moving car here as opposed to being trapped forever in a train that never goes away. It was like that a few patches ago. They fixed that, thankfully. If you are unaware with the Star Citizen in general, we are currently on the world of Hurston in the city of Lorville. Lorville being a nice... What's the best comparison? I've heard it compared with Blade Runner in some respects. On the one hand, you've got how the cheap end lives, the worker class, the grunge industrial area, and then you've got the huge Hurston Dynamics building, which is the upper, shows basically how the upper crust live. And the rest of the planet is peppered with, what's a good spaceport? I'm going to say New Babbage right now. I like Lorville, personally, if I were starting out. Well, let me phrase it. If I were starting out, because, you know, I've been here a while now. Because Hurston has access to mission contracts of all kinds. But it is a little hard to take as far as navigation goes, especially if you're unfamiliar. Area 18, I like Area 18 a lot, but I think that right now it's got some issues with its landing facilities. And again, it doesn't have the same number of contracts here. You don't have the same number of contracts at New Babbage either, but New Babbage is the newest landing zone in the game that looks arguably the best. If you want to get a real look at just how awesome Star Citizen can be, as far as, you know, what the environment is like, New Babbage is the way to go. Let's see, let's claim my broken freelancer. Here we go, I'm not going to bother expediting. Instead, we are going to take a look at my contracts. In fact, you know what? You know what? How about I go to New Babbage and you can see for yourself. Unless, of course, you're already in the game and actually going to New Babbage. Then you will be able to see for yourself anyway. Choices. Well, if I do some light bounty hunting, I can use the light fighter. As I've mentioned previously, doing a criminal status 4 mission in a light fighter is a prescription for suicide. So, I am not going to be doing that particular one. Unfortunately, my tiny brain cells have succeeded in forgetting just which pad I was going to. See, this is one of the hazards of not having my screen able to show me my video like I showed 6. Because ordinarily I'd be able to see things in real time, but my iPad app is not cooperating with me at all today. In fact, I hope to God that the chat at least is working properly, because otherwise this is going to get embarrassing quick. There are times I envy those other streamers who have multiple high-end computers where they can have one computer dedicated to streaming and the other computer dedicated to, well, exactly what I'm doing right now. This is the Anvil Arrow, and depending on who you talk to, this is either the best or the second best light fighter in the game. It varies.
Anvil Aerospace, all systems online.
But I am a fan of the look of the ship. It's not much to look at the moment because, you know, I'm landed. So let's fix that. Open up my comm systems to tell them I am ready to leave.
You are clear to launch.
Here, I need my target status. The door is opening up above me. And we'll do a takeoff. Bring up landing gear. There we go. That's the arrow that I like to see. Now the next step is figuring out where the landing splines are that tell me which direction I should go to leave atmosphere without getting caught in autopilot and killed off by the autopilot area. Restricted zones are no joke. You go into a restricted zone, you will get yanked by autopilot to a non-restricted zone, or into a building, or it'll just blow you up. You have to upgrade memory to fully play this game. I get that. I get that. The memory requirements are pretty brutal. I recently, well, not recently because it's been a couple years now, but when I picked up my current system, it was always an eye to being able to play the higher end games. Although I had not really anticipated doing Star Citizen until last Christmas, when it occurred to me, because of various issues with various games, I was looking for a new science fiction game to play, and I was this close to deciding to go back to EVE Online to get my sci-fi fix And then I realized, hey, Star Citizen's kind of playable now. Why not give that a spin? I always knew I was going to get to it sooner or later. And, well, here I am. Only a crime stat 1 right now, no crime stat 2 guys. I'd prefer crime stat 2s on these. Even a crime stat 3 would be tolerable. Not my preferred, but tolerable. And again, looks like I'm on the wrong side of the planet. So I need to look for an orbital marker. Maybe I can do it from Everest. Everest Harbor is in relatively geosynchronous orbit around Hurston. Oh, you know what?
Quantum drive is now.
You know what? If you do need upgrade memory to fully play this game, then that means you aren't seeing New Babbage right now. So why don't we just take a quick tour of New Babbage? Hopefully I'll be able to autopilot, well not autopilot, but get there on an Arrow's fuel supply. No, I am not going to get there on an Arrow fuel supply. Okay. Well then, I want to swap ships. Still loading. Well, here's the real question. Are you using a solid-state drive or a standard hard drive? Because if you're using a standard hard drive, you will take a long time to load. Standard hard drives are brutal. I had to make sure that I had enough room on my SSD to make sure that my loading times weren't horrible. In fact, if you're still loading, maybe I'll hold off and see if I can get on the same server as you. Might be doable, might not. Servers fill fast. Get a landing point.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
Now, in the interest of full disclosure, Everest Harbor is my preferred
Deployed.
log-off zone. Okay, hold on here. I'm about to land in somebody else's pad. In fact, I was getting ready to land on top of someone else's ship. Not sure if it's solid state. Well, I imagine you'll find out sooner or later.
Forward proximity alert. Deck
Turn off
proximity
my
alert.
cruise control there.
Deck
And drop it
proximity
down.
alert. Landing complete.
Landing complete.
Engines
Have a pleasant stay.
offline.
Okay, now that I'm on here, that means when I log back in, I'll be here at Everest. So I'm going to exit the menu, and I'm going to see if it lists you as being in the menu or in the game. Although I guess it's possible it could say it's in some nebulous netherworld. Alright, let's see. Server full, server full. That's always one of the annoying things. I figure if I'm persistent enough for the persistent universe. Oh, that worked better than I thought it was going to. So the good news is I should be on the same server momentarily. Knock on wood. Of course, there's always the possibility that we're loading into a server that's about to crash. There's always a real danger in this game. The other possibility, which is a less pleasant one, is there could be an infinite loading screen thing happening. I don't think that's going to happen because I didn't have any horrible thing happen while I was logging out, so I wasn't doing anything crazy like logging off into a dead space. But neither can I rule it out either. Well, background music seems to have stopped. No, it's starting again. Yeah, it's possible it's possible we may have lucked out and wound up in the infinite loading screen of death here. That would also explain why you're still loading. If you're still seeing the loading screen, that could well be it. Because it's still loading, still loading, still loading. Excuse me. Allergies seem to be kicking in here. Hi, Curse Prophet. Welcome to my stream. I was not going into the game with a party. What I was doing, however, was joining a friend into Persistent Universe. Now, he had indicated that he is still stuck on a loading screen, and we thought maybe it was because of his hard drive, solid-state drive. Maybe, or maybe it was the fact that his memory wasn't quite up to spec. But since I would ordinarily be loaded in by now as well, I'm suspecting that... oh, hold on. There we are. So much for my suspicion. Now, my friend there is attempting to load himself into New Babbage, and my goal is to meet him there. Unfortunately, at the moment, I am in Everest Harbor. And while I suppose I could have gotten there in my Arrow at the time, if I was willing to do the hop to a rest R&R station, refuel, and try again, the great refueling bug makes me leery about doing that. Let's see, your PC is not bad. You still have problems with this, but you love the game. Just picked it up. Just picked up your first Prospector. Yeah, Prospectors are a handy ship to have. It's on my short list of ships to pick up somewhere along the line, but I'm holding off for now. I've done the mining thing a couple times with a rented Prospector, with all the problems that implies. The rented Prospector not being able to, well, not unless you manage to work around it, doesn't get to use the good mining heads, which means the good ores, the good metals, minerals, what have you. They tend to be very hard to crack open. I always end up with a whole bunch of inert materials. Let's see, one's game setting. Your game seems to work better with the higher settings you have on. Boy, that's not something you would consider intuitive. Usually you figure it will work better with the lower settings. And the good freelancer got reassigned the number -2. That's one thing I wish they would be consistent on. Put all my good stuff on Freelancer 1. Freelancer 1 blew up. Now Freelancer 2 is free. Well, Freelancer 1 is now Freelancer 2. Well, I might be able to cheat things up a bit. Uh-oh. Oh, interesting. Streamlabs has some stuff there. Yeah, I'm a fan of freelancers. Streamlabs is whining about me about having functioning as intended for modifications. Yeah, I'm not even gonna look at that kind of thing right now. That's here's my freelancer. Yeah, the freelancer I ordinarily have one of. I should only have one, but bugs happened, and now it's not quite the way it ought to be. Let me replace my equipment on here. So I'm using the stuff that I want to be using on Freelancer without a subscript as opposed to Freelancer with the subscript. And let's make sure that I'm grabbing the right ones. Okay, that worked out better than I'd hoped. Illifi crashed. Yeah, my condolences on that. We knew that was a possibility with your memory issues, and it looks like it's deciding to stay that way. So we'll give you the virtual tour of New Babbage by simply flying there. Okay, my freelancer is up and available. Debating where to best take the standard prospector. Daymar at the moment, no upgrades on it, so that's Hadnite. Yeah, I think Hadnite's one of the ones out there. There's a ultimate mining guide somewhere on the web for the game, and I've forgotten where I've been already. This is what happens when I don't let my brain lock on these details before. Yeah, the Ultimate Mining Guide tends to be a very helpful utility on that sort of thing. I was reading up on that. That was one of the reasons I found out that I was more or less screwed on getting the really good stuff. I wouldn't even try to get Quantanium, for example. There are better things you can get, I think, than Hadnite, but I'm not 100% sure. I always have to have that guide open to figure out the best way of dealing with it. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, I understand now. This will teach me not to read the entire paragraph. You're only finding the stuff for hand mining. Yeah, you pick up more dirt than anything else. Yeah, the inert materials are awful. That's where that ultimate mining guide thing comes in, because it gives you a general idea of what percentages you should be looking for to help maximize that profit. Hey, thank you for the follow, Chris Profit. Just as a heads up, I tend to stream twice a week. My Sunday streams are Star Citizen. My Wednesday streams are Star Trek Online. So I've got a pair of very different kind of games. Both science fiction-y, but very different in the way they're put together. There's a lot of luck, I think, that's involved in mining of the Prospector, too, because I've broken even once, I think, when I rented the Prospector. And that was from sheer luck.
Thank you, and please visit again.
But if you actually own the Prospector, I imagine your fortune goes a lot better. Because then you can upgrade the mining heads, crack open those hard to open up rocks. But if you're having trouble finding the rocks in the first place, I can see how that would be an issue. The really crazy thing right now is that just about every ship can almost find rocks without even scanning these days, and I'm not sure what's up with that. Yeah, just on the Star Citizen. Yeah, it's buggy. It's an alpha. But there's a lot to like about it. I've been playing since December, and I'm a big fan. There is a lot to like about this game. There's also a lot to drive you crazy in this game, but you know, if you can't handle an alpha, stay away. Gotta handle these little disasters like server crashes and random ships exploding. Yeah, just thinking where to go to use it. Vanilla Prospector is pretty meh. Yeah, I get that. I thought I'd heard that aerial around Hurston was a decent spot, but I'm not 100% sure. I've got a moment. Why don't I just, while my screen is showing me flying into all sorts of places, I'm going to see if I can dig up where the heck that mining guide went. I know I bookmarked it. Surely I bookmarked it. I didn't bookmark it. Okay, I think that's it. It's at spaceforgames.com. And let's see if I can find the one that tells us. Oh, goody. Best locations for. Well, they say Daymar is one of the good spots. Selling. Oh, heck, it looks like most of the moons are. That didn't help at all. But I would consider. I consider maybe Magda Lorville. Maybe. You know, check it out, save up and buy one to get it all out. I'm doing this, well, do I run this in high and disabled full screen optimization or anything like that? I haven't done anything special with this. I've went with pretty much what was the default settings for my monitor. My computer is a pretty decent one, although I'm afraid I don't have any command things set up in Streamlabs to show my system specs. Streamlabs is still an application I'm getting used to figuring out. When I started doing the streaming thing, I was using the standard OBS software, and it doesn't have any of the bells and whistles that Streamlabs had available, and I wanted to monkey a bit with those. And, well, there's a lot to it. I've only recently started looking into the command thing, and still working it out. I'm glad the stream is looking smooth and doing crisp. The first time I was streaming Star Citizen, I had the settings were not quite right, perhaps, in my streaming software and the OBS, and I didn't find out until afterwards, and this was during the Invictus Flight Week. I found out afterwards that I was getting all sorts of frame rate issues. It was horrible. I got that fixed at one point and tried it again, and, well, it was like what you're seeing now. And I was incredibly happy with that. And that was probably one of the reasons why I decided to start the second stream doing Star Citizen. I have no trouble with Star Trek Online streams because it's a 8-9-year-old game. Or is it 10 by now? I lose track. It's been around a long time. So we're not looking at what you would call heavy system requirements. Star Citizen, it's got heavy system requirements. But it certainly rewards you for those system requirements. Yeah, at least I can play STO. Yeah, I hear that, Elfie. I hear that. Older games may have their disadvantages, but you know you can play them on just about any system you have. New games, sometimes you've got to really crack out the wallet for that. And, well, sometimes money is tight, especially these days. Takes it back to the Crisis days. Oh, is that one of those graphic-intensive games too? I've never really monkeyed with Crisis. In fact, is that even a game or is that hardware? That shows you how up I am on these things. I am so low-tech. Okay, I've just arrived at the planet of Microtech. Now, Microtech doesn't have a whole lot in the way of, oh, what's this? I've got a bad person here. Do I want to fight him? Nah. Oh, okay, he's shooting at me. Now I want to fight him. You've made me angry. Now you must pay the price. I'm pretty sure I still have call to arms enabled. Piero Simmons, prepare to die. But must be careful, don't want to shoot the other target, because the other target is friendly. Theoretically friendly. I can't really tell for sure. That cutlass is cutting it closely. There we go. Pirate dead. I have done my good deed for the day. Now, odds are that particular pirate was a NPC pirate. Because I know he wouldn't have been ignoring me if you were a player.
Quantum travel complete.
Okay, something is odd here. I'm pointing at Port Tressler. I do not want to go to Port Tressler. I want to go to New Babbage. I must have clicked Port Tressler by accident. Easy to understand why, because Tressler is in geosynchronous orbit over New Babbage. We're close enough to it. And it looks like New Babbage is currently at the night side. So it will perhaps not be as gorgeous to see coming in. That's okay though, because New Babbage is all about the interiors. Microtech is a cold world, a frosty world. If you want to think a civilized version of Hoth, that's probably not a bad comparison. But no Wampas. Now the first challenge upon arriving at Microtech is always, where the heck is the spaceport? The spaceport is on the outskirts. You just have to locate where on the outskirts. And I am flipping myself around back and forth. Sometimes you're able to see it from red lights, but sometimes there's enough cloud cover that it's a little difficult to tell. I'm going to shift myself to third person view for a moment. Okay, I think that's it on the left. Yeah, I've been to New Babbage enough times to be able to identify it, but when you can't see the lights, it becomes a little challenging to locate. Let's center myself up again. I tried to use the trams as my big indicator because the nice long tram will end at the spaceport. Or in the middle of nowhere. I try to aim for the one that's obviously the spaceport. There we go, you can see the red lights coming up now. The good thing about I keep saying Tressler. The good thing about Babbage is most of its hangars are horizontal hangars. Those are nice and easy to fly into. The big hangars, ones that are reserved for things like caterpillars and carrots and probably equally large ships, those are vertical hangars, which you have to drop into. And in today's flight model, that could be real dicey. Must be something wrong I've done. 1070 to i7 runs like a vegetable in places like this. It might be. I'm told that the graphics card is one of the big issues with these games. That you need to have a graphics card capable of doing some pretty heavy lifting. Unfortunately, I'm not all that up on what's the best graphics card, so I'm a horrible person to ask. Now, sooner or later, I should start getting an indicator telling me that, oh, there it is. I will ask them for a landing bay. And hopefully it will not close up before I get there. Yeah, that's probably the way to go. Fiddle with settings. See how the experience works. Get it to a point where you can tolerate and go from there. Now, one of the nice things about New Babbage's landing area is that it doesn't require any landing spline kind of activity. It doesn't have any no-fly zones yet. That makes it very simple to get into your landing area and not have to worry about being autopiloted into a rock or a building or ground or something. They probably get away with this by being so far away from the main city. Okay, I'm getting closer. I'm going to turn on my headlights. You can't really tell because, you know, I'm too far away for them to actually reflect on anything. But I want to make sure that I'm going in at a speed that doesn't have me going into the back end of the hangar and exploding. I've already crashed into something once earlier today, and I'm not going to do it twice. Of course, I say that now. Okay, there's the hangar. I'm going to slow it down. Try to straighten myself out in here. I can turn off the gimbals now. I'm not shooting anything. Turn off the cruise control. I really like the way they changed up the hangars in Microtech. They used to be the same generic hangars that every other landing bay has, but now they've got cool aero view hangars. Landing gear down. Land.
Landing complete. Have a pleasant stay.
Okay, turn off the power, turn off the engines, so that nobody gives me a parking fine. The fact they did this for Microtech gives me hope that maybe they'll do something unique for Area 18 at some point. Because Area 18 could use more up-to-date hangar as well that fits in with the landing area, the whole city there. This feels like it fits in with Microtech. The generic one feels like it fits in with Lorville. But it don't feel like it really fits in with Area 18. Okay, welcome to New Babbage. New Babbage has been could be easily compared with an Apple store, which is a scary comparison, but there it is. Or maybe Google, their headquarters. You can access the surface of the planet and wheeled vehicles or other ground vehicles here. This area that has commercial flights, that doesn't go anywhere. Maybe it will someday, who knows. Now over here we have ship rentals, and something that got added in the last patch, Pico. Pico the Penguin, both with and without ski boards. Oh, also a place to buy energy bars and drinks. Didn't realize that they had that behind there. I always see the front end. You can buy these drinks and food, obviously, to help you with your thirst and hunger. And, presuming that it works, you can purchase Pico for 150 UEC. A worthy purchase. Now, I'm not entirely sure how to stow him, though. I see people doing stuff that gets them to go into hammer space or something like that, but I haven't. There must be a way to put that penguin into inventory somehow. Can I do anything with... Maybe be an item action? No. There must be a way. You would think there would be a way. But fortunately, I seem to be more or less stuck with him. And now I've dropped him. I seem to be in a feast or famine with him. Over here we have ship rentals, and they're basically the luxury ones, mostly. Oh, they seem to have added a few others here. I was really hoping that they would have the 890 jump available to rent. I certainly don't have the credits for that, but it would be nice. Okay, that's basically the spaceport, though. That's not really the fun stuff. We're going to take the Microtech Metro Loop to look at the more fun part of New Babbage. And perhaps while I'm doing so, I will be able to find a way to get Pico out of my hands, so to speak. I know it's possible. I've seen people do this on streams. There must be a way. Of course, if worst comes to worst, I'll just abandon him. It's only 150 UEC. Let's go to the Metro Loop. And there he is again. Penguin, you are annoying me. The eyes just keep staring at you. It haunts you. There's no escape from the eyes of Pico. I'll tell you what, Pico. You're causing me more problems than you're worth, so here. Guard the entrance to the Metro Loop. Be the silent guardian. Now we're going to hop into this capsule, basically the monorail of Microtech, or New Babbage. And this would be a lot more impressive of a trip if, you know, it were daylight outside, but unless the sun rose when I wasn't looking, it is likely to still be dark. If there's one thing that I would absolutely kill for in this game, it would be a compass. It's really annoying not to know the directions of north, south, east, and west, so you can have a general idea of whether you just got to nighttime or if it is becoming, if you're getting close to being dawn. Let me rephrase that. Sometimes the words are coming out of my mouth before my brain has a chance to vet them. But I do think that New Babbitt looks a lot better in the daytime. Most of the worlds do, I think, except most landing zones, except for Area 18. Area 18 does look good at night.
Clear of disembarkation.
It just has its little landing problems right now. Okay, so we are in what is commonly referred to as the Commons, which is the, dare I say it, the common area of New Babbitt. And again, we're having that new tech kind of feel here. You've got all these exercise machines and massage chairs, and looks like we have some weights here, none of which we can actually use. That's the hazard of the games. You can't have everything interactable, I guess. Although it'd be pretty nice. And keeping in with the tradition of good health, you'll notice in the center here we have all these exercise mats. During the daytime, you see people, NPCs, wandering out here and doing their exercises alone, jogging around the area here. You've got a sandwich shop. Then you've got a, well, I'm not entirely sure what this place serves. Oh, right, ice cream. Or actually, it's technically, well, no, it is ice cream. Proof positive that there will still be things bad for you in the future. Also, you can buy a bunch of healthy fruit-like objects and smoothies. And if you're a vegetarian type, we have Garcia's Greens, where you have, you know, health food. And yeah, sometimes the NPCs are not rendered quite right and they end up in that T-pose. Although that's not nearly as annoying as the ones that stand on chairs. Now this is actually the middle section of the commons area. If we go this way, we're going to go into the plaza. And the plaza has a number of shopping areas. Omega Pro is where you could buy your ship components. You can improve your ship shielding, power plant. Not weapons, though. No, weapons is for Center Mass, where they will sell not just weapons for your ship, but weapons for your person. And the nice thing about some of these planets and space stations is that they won't all have the same things. So, depending on what you want to buy, you may have to travel a bit. And that's realistic here. Now, up here in the center, we have Factory Line. And I have a feeling that this is going to be something that will be a big deal in the future more than now. If I can find the staircase. There we go. The only thing you can purchase here for now are new Moby glasses. And the Moby glass is basically, well, this thing. Now, the thing here is, it doesn't change your interface. It is changing the actual device on your wrist. Unfortunately, I'm wearing armor right now, so you really can't see it. But if you're wearing standard clothing... Uh-oh. Ah! Yes, the dreaded 30K server crash. Oh well, Pico, we knew you well. Ironically, it still has someone in the persistent universe here. Well, that won't last long since the server crashed. See, this is why I'm not hauling cargo now. If you have a server crash when you're hauling cargo, the cargo is gone. More importantly, that means the money you put into that cargo is gone. This is why I am in the tens of thousands instead of the hundreds of thousands in my finances right now. It was a low 100,000, still wasn't that impressive. But on the bright side, since I did crash out in Microtech, that means I will spawn in at Microtech and thus be able to show off exactly what the new player will see spawning in at New Babbage for the first time. Presuming, of course, that... There we go. I'll see that... Okay, see, that I don't understand. And I'm going to die in a minute, because apparently something has broken my legs. And I'm bleeding to death. Oh, fine. The worst it can do is have me spawn right back here. I hope that's a bug they fix soon. This is not the first time I've had that happen, although it is the first time I've been dying because of it. Now see, much better this time. You spawn in, get your own little bed here. Oh, looks like we're in morning. That's good. Got a shower bath in there. You got stuff hanging here that you can't actually use. Cabinets that are empty. Looks like a coffee maker. No, cookies. Maybe a coffee. Oh no, it's like food processor. Stove. None of this is actually usable, but you can interact with the stuff that can, open up. Can't do anything with them, but I imagine that there's a plan for them someday. And you would go out. Yeah, it looks like we have dawn happening here. That's nice. Get a view of the world of Microtech. Now, for those unfamiliar with the lore, we are in the Stanton star system, the only star system that is currently in the game. And the 4 worlds of Stanton have been purchased by these huge mega corporations. And, unsurprisingly, they named planets for themselves. So Crusader Industries owns the planet Crusader. Hurston Dynamics owns the planet Hurston. ArcCore owns the planet of, well, ArcCore. And Microtech owns Microtech. And that is the story. We exit our apartment area, and there's nothing really usable here. This is just a way. Oh, let me rephrase that. There is something usable. If you've been a bad person and been fined for something, you can pay it off right here. Luckily, I have not been fined for anything. Ooh, there's a frequently asked questions thing here. How are fines attributed to me? What can I get fined for? Why did I get fined? Why am I getting fined from someone who swipes my ship? What happens if I don't pay my escalated... Oh, well, that one's important. What happens if I don't pay escalated fines? Because if you ignore paying your fines, they start escalating. And I'm just kind of curious what happens. Oh, you get considered a criminal. At that point, bad things happen. Once you get crime stat, space stations start shooting at you. You start getting higher crime stat. Players start shooting at you because suddenly you're worth more to them dead than alive. And life becomes rough.
Careful, doors are now closing.
Better for all concerned to pay off your fines promptly. Presuming, of course, that the terminal is correct and the crime stat actually does happen. I don't know how long it actually takes. That may be worth an experiment someday. Whenever I next get a fine. It'd be nice to think that I'll never be fined again. But I don't live in the real world. Accidents happen. Now, it's important to realize that these fines are separate from having your ship impounded, which is a separate thing entirely. Okay, it looks like we're coming in on the bus stop. We're going to do just a quick go around for the rest of the plaza because it's the promenade that I really want to show off. So we are going to watch that heart rate go up as I run across here. Okay, so we've been in factory line. I'm going to cut right across instead of going around to the most important area in the plaza as far as I'm concerned, and that is the Trade Division building. And this is where you would pick up and drop off cargo for your ship. For those daring enough to do cargo runs. The heck with pirates. Pirates you can survive. It's the 30Ks that are the most terrifying. You want high-risk gameplay? Cargo running is high-risk gameplay. Okay, we're going to zap ourselves back into the commons area. Mainly because I have to go through here to get to the promenade. Got a rock climbing wall here that you can't interact with, and I really feel like that was a lost opportunity. You really should be able to try to climb on the rock here with all the hand grips and all. Maybe someday, maybe not. You have a surface entrance here too, and there is a single garage here for ground vehicles. For those unaware, it's cold out there. Like, freezing cold. Hoth cold. If you're wearing gear that is not developed to handle it, you will freeze to death. And depending on what you're wearing, it may be fast or it may be slow, but it will happen. Alright, here we are. Promenade. On one side we have Apparelli, which is the upper class clothing line. I wasn't horribly impressed with most of their clothing offerings, but hey, it might fit for somebody. Over here, however, is one of my favorite spots. Whammers. The one place in all of Stanton at the moment where you can buy a burger.
Hi, thanks for coming in.
Let's try to unequip the helmet. Good, that was faster than usual. And grab myself a deluxe burger.
Good purchase.
I thought so. Mmm, tasty. Nom 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 nom. I couldn't help that. It was just there. The prime area here, however, is the bar. And the bar contains one of the highlights of 3.10. And whether or not it's a highlight really depends on your point of view. And that's the bartender functionality. So first I'm going to go sidle up to the bar here. Maybe not that close. Now the bartenders have been given a whole bunch of, this is one of the big things that's been in a whole bunch of patch notes that they were working on for patch after patch after patch. And apparently it's going to be the test bed for vendors of all types over the star system and presumable, I don't know, galaxy? I'm not entirely sure how big the scale of Star Citizen is set to be. I don't know if it's going to be galactic level, local group.
You want a drink or something?
See, here we go. The guy's now asking me for a drink. He came right over and asked me. Now, I'm going to ask for some liquor here if he stops moving around long enough for me to click that. And I'm going to ask for whiskey and cola because apparently that's the only option. Now, unfortunately, there is a big delay in pretty much everything the bartender is doing. The fact that he has not gone to serve me yet, for example, is proof of this. So it feels like there's some optimization waiting to happen here. That's okay, bartender. I'll wait. Mainly because this is an armistice zone and I can't shoot you. That would be a little too old west for this place. Sooner or later, though, everything will go through the list of possibilities in his computer code, and he'll eventually decide that, oh yeah, this guy ordered a drink. He'll get there. He's slow. I'd slap the guy around, but I don't have that option either. On the bright side, it means he hasn't gone to serve anybody else yet. Now, I've noticed that bartenders tend to work a lot better at some of the other landing zones. The bartender at Levski was much better than this one.
Sure thing.
Ah, there we go. Sure thing. He finally got it. So look, he's going to go over there, he's going to get me a glass. Fill with ice. Mix the drink. Then he's going to bring it to me and set it down. At which point, I can pick it up and drink it. Now, amazingly, we do not have drunk logic in the game yet. At least not to my knowledge. And now that I'm done with this...
What can I do you for? See you later.
Well, in a minute, what you can do for me is let me put the glass back. Unfortunately, I can't seem to get the menu to work with it because I have a grenade in the way. I would love to give you this glass. Ah, here we go, hold on. There we go, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it... Try to put it right down. Okay, well, we tried. Theoretically, if I put the glass in front of him somehow, he would be able to take it away and wash it and do whatever with it, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. And there's a couple... When the place comes up at night, this whole place turns into a nightclub. So it's kind of like a... not quite a tiki bar, but it's definitely a more daytime dining area kind of environment. Oh, never even noticed this area before. I've always gone around the long way. Learn something new every day. There must be an equivalent section on the other side. And theoretically, there's a couple areas in the corners that are dance floors too. There are dances available in your remotes. But that's basically all there is to the promenade. I am a fan of the way they put New Babbage together. It's to me, it's the best looking of the landing zones. I like all the landing zones because they all have their own character. But there's a lot to like about the way they've done New Babbage. I'm looking forward to the next landing zone that is hopefully coming sometime next year, first or second quarter, which will be Orison, the official landing zone of Crusader. And it'll be an interesting landing zone, mainly because Crusader is a gas giant. And it's going to be hovering in the upper atmosphere. In other words, Orison is Cloud City. I think that will be well worth visiting when the time comes. Yeah, there we go. We have the exercise people beginning to come out there. And we've got our people standing on chairs. Every patch they say they fixed it. In every patch, they're still standing on chairs. And adding insult to injury, I think this is actually 2 people standing in chairs. What we have here is a horrible mutation. Probably spent in proximity to, well, gee, if this were Lorville, I'd say it was proximity to all the mines and pollution. If this were Area 18, I'd say it was probably radiation. I don't know what I can say about New Babbage. I mean, it's clean, it's cold, nothing that would explain horrible mutations that look like that. But what can you do? And that's going to cover it for the day, I think. We will close out our afternoon here in the exercise area. I wonder if there's an exercise emote. Player action emote. Let's see if I have one that looks like an exercise. Dance doesn't count. Flex. Oh, we just sit down. It won't let me sit down. Okay. Oh, no wonder I'm being shoved out of the way by this guy. You got attitude, don't you? It takes real guts to, push around someone who's, carrying a machine gun and multiple grenades. This man has obviously got a pair of stones on him. But since it's an armistice zone, I guess I'll have to not shoot him. And I think that's going to do it for the day. Thank you for visiting my stream. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the stream today. It went a little differently than I'd expected, but that's the way they usually go, I feel. As always, my next stream will be on Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern, and that will cover Star Trek Online for, yes, I'm getting on the ground there. Let me send myself back up here and get out of the way because people keep knocking me over. There we go. Try not to knock me over now, guys. I'm not in the way of jogging anymore. I will also be online on Saturday. Not Saturday. I keep thinking Saturday might be a day I move to. I haven't decided yet. Until I make that decision, it will happen on Sunday at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern to approximately 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And as always, the end times are a little flexible depending on what's going on. If I'm in the middle of a firefight during the stream, that takes me past 3 o'clock. I'm obviously going to finish the firefight, or if I have a cargo run I need to wrap up, or if I have a mission happening in Star Trek Online that I want to get done, then yeah, I'll get past 3 o'clock. Or, sorry, for Star Trek Online it would be past 10 o'clock. The end times, in other words, are, they'd be more like guidelines than actual rules, to borrow a phrase. And that will do it for the day. Thank you for joining me again. This is Korath Landwalker, signing off.